In this video, I talk about important tools for hobbying that you probably already have around the house. Believe me when I tell you that there are a lot of tools and gadgets in this hobby. There are clippers and snippers and files and scrapers and knives and brushes, obviously, and just every last little possible thing. And those are just the things that we use to actually work on the models. There's an entire cavalcade of other supporting devices and things that are important for what we like to do. The trick is that those things have a tendency to cost some money. And by some, I sometimes mean a lot. When something is designed specifically for a hobby, it has a tendency to cost more because it's looked at as being a luxury item. It's something, well, you just need it for your hobby. You don't need it to survive. You need it for enjoyment. So therefore, more often than not, those things can be kind of expensive. Sometimes they're also very specifically made just for that hobby, and so sometimes that extra price is justified. But not everything that you can use in your hobby has to be specifically tailor-made for the hobby. There's a lot of things that you've got currently around the house, things that I know I've got around the house, that are important to have and will really help, and you may have not thought of them because they're not designed for our hobby, but they can really help you out. And I'm going to try to mention as many as I can think of and that I have around. But the trick is that any ones that I don't mention here that you use all the time, I want you to put it in the comments below. And if you're relatively new to the hobby, or even if you're not and you're looking for more ideas beyond what I talk about in this video, check the comments. One of the first things, frankly, is a little desk fan. Something small, preferably like a variable setting, where you can go high, low, or medium, or whatever. Also, quiet is helpful as well. What this is good for is, in my mind, I like to have something set a little ways away. A fan like this that's set a little ways away so I can be working on a model, and then when I want it to dry, I can set it over to the side in front of the fan so the fan can blow on it and help it dry quicker. I don't want it blowing all the way across my desk because it's going to maybe move stuff around too much, or it might dry out my paints faster, possibly on my palette, stuff like that. So you want to have it kind of pointed a different direction, but this can really speed up your painting when you're doing a bunch of things all in a row, doing things in kind of a assembly line. You work on these guys, set them in front of the fan, and then work on these guys. And by the time you get these guys done, those guys should be dried off because of the fan. Related to this same kind of thing, but in a much more focused and somewhat heated kind of way, this is a hairdryer. I don't use one too frequently myself for my hair, but I do use it all the time for my models. This was $2 at a rummage sale, or garage sale, yard sale, whatever you call it in your neck of the woods. But the fact is that this is always in my airbrush room because I prime a model and I immediately start working on drying it. I highlight a model, I immediately start working on drying it. And I believe that the heat helps as well, especially if you're trying to cure like a primer. If you're trying to cure a primer onto a model, and if the model's not like really bad resin, because you could melt it, these things are invaluable for just speeding up drying time. Washes and things like that, even if you're not out at your normal desk and you're doing stuff with brushwork, washes can be dried a lot quicker with either a fan or something like this, your normal garden variety used hairdryer. I'm sensing two themes here. One is things that dry stuff, and the other is things from rummage sales. This is a food dehydrator. What this was originally designed for, I guess, is for making beef jerky. You take a bunch of meat and stack it on these little shelves inside here, and then you turn it on. You can put lots of different things in these different shelves. You turn it on, and then you get a bunch of dried meat after X amount of time. You can put in fruit, you get dried fruit, stuff like that. I have no interest in either of those things specifically in this video. What I'm talking about is drying those little blocks. If you use the Hearst Arts molds or any other kind of molds to make terrain and stuff like that out of the little plaster, usually dental plaster, like a nice hardier plaster. If you use something like that and you make a whole bunch of blocks so that you can build some cool pieces of terrain, if you put them in a dehydrator like this, you won't have to wait nearly as long to be able to use them. If you just leave them out on a piece of paper towel or whatever, you're going to have to wait sometimes a very long time before they're cured enough to be able to start gluing together. Dehydrator like this, you can cut that time probably at least in half. And again, rummage sale. Organization is important. You wouldn't know it to look around here right now, but I do believe that organization is important. And it's actually really easy just to go into any sporting goods store and buy these little buddies. These are for, I guess, lures, probably. I'm assuming it's for fishing lures. It's a fishing thing. You find them in the fishing department. This one is not for fishing lures. In my opinion, this one is for bits, predominantly Imperial bits. And this one is for Chaos bits. Having the bits all in their little cells, the little different, containers inside of this thing, and being able to grab one for Tau and the other one for, Beastmen or whatever kind of stuff you're building, rather than having to dig around through sprue after sprue. When you get done putting something together from a sprue, just quickly clip off all the bits, put them into these things, and store them away someplace, and you won't have to think about them until you want to think about them, and then you'll be able to find them easy. This kind of fishing stuff is perfect for us. Not only that, a long time ago I talked about making a portable nerding kit, something that you can take with you if you're going someplace and you want to be able to still build, but you don't want to lug all your stuff. You want to have something portable you can take and then work on models and scrape off mold lines and junk like that. You can see that video up here. Pachow. It's a fishing thing. It's just a simple little fishing lure. It's got a handle even, little clips, all this stuff. There's all the parts in here. I can take it with me when I want to go and work on stuff, and I'm not going to be doing it at home. All this kind of stuff for not just for things that you're building, but even when you go out to play, those little tiny ones for lures and hooks and things like that you get at the sporting goods store, those are great for all your tokens and even your dice if you want to go that far. Another thing that, frankly, I don't do enough of, and that is organizing my actual painting surface and getting all of my paint pots and paint bottles kind of organized and separated. Sometimes when you watch, or at least when I watch other people's YouTube channels and they're filming directly from their hobby area, I look at all the amazing paints that they've all got, perfectly lined up and all the colors and all that kind of stuff, everything like that. And I think, wow, that's pretty awesome. Mine always looks like a hot mess, frankly, but I'm trying to get better. One of the ways to do that is to actually organize your paints on your table and not just leave them in a giant pile, like, say, me. One way you can do that, little spice racks. You can get these at all kinds of little department stores and things like that, Walmart, Target, whatever. This one's made out of, I think, bamboo, and then you can just set this towards the back of your table and then stack a bunch of paints on it. It's easy to see them, it keeps them out of the way, and it also keeps them in a spot. If paints don't go anywhere, then they have a tendency to go everywhere. So find a place for them, and then they won't be everywhere. Another thing, one that I don't have yet, but I've been reading a lot about it and a lot of people talk about it, and you should definitely think about it, go on to Amazon and do a search for nail polish acrylic rack. And you will find this lovely, many different types of lovely clear plastic racks that will allow you to hang it on a wall and then keep all of your paint pots and paint bottles and things like that in there to keep them up, even off of your table, even better than this. And they come in tons of different sizes and different sort of shapes, and you'll be able to keep everything at a glance at any given time, hang it on the wall, and not have to worry about it again. One of the last things that is, well, frankly, literally a catch-all is plastic containers. Tupperware, that name gets thrown around a lot in America, but in other countries, I'm sure you guys have got your own terms for it. These are actually from IKEA. This is like a whole package of different sizes. I've started using some of them already for different things. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to keep some parts in here. Sometimes it's just, I'm going to keep a Blood Bowl team in here. They're not painted yet, so I'm not worried about scraping them up, but I want to know where they all are. So I'll put them into something like this, or those other like really inexpensive, like semi-disposable containers you can get at the grocery store now, like Gladware and stuff like that. I also use that same kind of stuff exactly to strip models. I'll pour whatever stripping fluid I'm in there, the purple drank, simple green, whatever, pour it in there, throw in a bunch of models, let them sit. There's a nice top on there, so I don't have to worry about, like evaporation, things like that. I wouldn't put a really kind of nasty chemical into one of those because it could eventually melt through, so be careful of that. I would probably go with glass if you were using something else. But if you're using something simple, like Simple Green, Super Clean, Pine Sol, all that stuff will easily not chew through this in any great amount of time. And then you'll be able to use these for not just stripping and not just storing, but for... I mean, I've seen people actually do neat pieces of terrain out of containers like this. Stuff for infinity, sci-fi looking buildings, things like that. All these things that you've got around your house already, you just need to look at them in a different way and start to understand about, well, how can I co-opt this for my hobby? So that's all the stuff that I was able to kind of grab and bring forward and show to you. What kind of things, household, normal, everyday items do you use in your hobby? Post it down below because I'm interested, certainly, obviously, but also I want people who are here to find out about these things to take a look through the comments and also learn from the community. So yeah, I'm going to probably have to figure out where to put all this stuff back now, and then I will certainly find something else that I was like, oh, I should have put that in the video. So beat me to it and put it in the comments down below and start searching around your home for more hobby stuff.